Cheap and Cheerful, and today it's a 100-watt USB-C GAN charger mega review. I'll be testing a bunch of different 100-watt plus chargers to find the best unit for the best price. For this episode, I've got my hands on 8 different chargers. There's more on the way.
No, there isn't.
From popular brands such as Anker, UGreen, Baseus, AOHI, and more. So we can tell which ones are decent, which ones are fibbing, and which ones are
potentially
dangerous. All that and more coming up next. So the reason I'm doing USB-C chargers today is because you guys asked for it following my USB-C soldering iron mega review. Solder. If you've got any other ideas for videos, chuck a comment below and I'll add it to my list. For each charger, I'll run the same set of tests on screen now. Unlike all my mega reviews, I'll fill out a simple table so you've got real data and not just opinions. All of these units I bought myself with a combination of credits from AliExpress and a bit of my own money to get as many as I could. If you'd like to support my work, I'll add affiliate links in the description, but the best thing you can do for me is like and subscribe. So our first contender is the Baseus GAN 2 Pro, which costs $48. Now Baseus has been my go-to for years whenever I needed cheap USB cables, adapters and hubs, and all the other landfill and waiting. So I figure their chargers should be at least passable. Since this is our first unit, I'll take a moment to explain what I'm testing and why, and try to keep it short. So the Baseus arrives in traditional fall off the back of the truck condition, but once you open it up, everything looks neat enough. It's already working its charms on my wife with these cutesy free stickers, and they threw in a free cable. We'll test how good it is. So testing the USB-C cable that came with it, it flashes up the details for a second and then disappears. I'll take a screenshot so we see what's going on, but yeah, something a little bit weird about the cable. So charger itself feels solid. Writing on the bottom is absolutely microscopic. Human can't read that, so I've had to put on the macro lens so we can see exactly what it says. I'm not seeing any familiar certifying bodies or UL listed or anything like that. Many devices use standard power delivery or quick charge. Some devices like Apple and Samsung have their own special versions of those, and not all USB chargers support them. So I'm going to plug in the Fnirsi to this and it'll tell us what protocols it supports. Ideally, we want to see green all across the board. So the Baseus is looking good. Just a couple of the oddball ones down the bottom there that I almost never see lighting up. Not too bad, going into the 70s. Okay, test 3. Next, I'm going to check whether it really can deliver 100 watts from a single port and test compatibility with some common devices. I'll be measuring the output with a watt meter, my Fnirsi, and plugging into a 140 watt MacBook, USB-C 100 watt soldering iron, and my big ass power bank. Normally, I'll be using my A-torch, but last time it made my power bank go nuclear, so I've got an upgrade on the way, and for now, we'll keep it simple. And there we go, drawing 104.7 watts, 98 watts input power, not too bad. Next up, we'll check this 100 watt USB-C soldering iron, 98 watts, there we go. Okay, finally, straight pipe into the MacBook. MacBook's only reporting 38.6 watts and 52 on the input. Try a different cable. So yeah, 40, 49, 46 on the MacBook, nothing near top speed, unfortunately. Okay, up next is the UGreen 100 watt CD226. I think everyone's aware of UGreen these days. When Anker started to get all hoity-toity charging Apple prices, UGreen stepped up and saved the day, taking over as my preferred supplier of cheap tech. And so far, I've not been disappointed. It's got everything we need with 3C and 1A port, 100 watts through a single port. Normally UGreen's pretty good with safety certs, but we'll have to take a closer look. No free cables on this one. So it appears to have a European certification. That's nice. Let's take a closer look at the markings. Okay, and checking out its protocols. 105 watts, that's good. No Huawei. Okay, no QC2 or 3, but QC4. Noise level. Don't focus over there. Focus here. 60 to 70. And we've got 104.7 up to 106.3 draw and 97, occasionally 98 watts, so probably about 97.5. So pretty much the same as the Baseus. Now let's try soldering iron. It's having a good whinge. And there we go, 110 watts, 115. Okay, not bad. And we'll try the MacBook. Yeah, it's only charging at 12 volts. It's gone up to 50 watts. It's not going to make anywhere near 100. It needs to be at least 20 volts. So for the stress test, I connected each unit up to a power station that was pulling a constant 100 watts plus. While I planned to plug something into every port, I found each device actually output less total when I did that. And so simply plugging in one high power device into a single port turned out to be the best way to get a constant 100 watts draw. As for the results, much to my surprise, most of the devices were able to last at least an hour without self-limiting, at which point they all seemed to stabilize around 70 to 80 degrees. Very hot. If we look at the Anker model's temperature screen, it's warning us that the unit's coming close to its cutoff temperature, and I suspect this is the case with most of their models. They're coming very close to their cutoff, but aren't hitting it, because my garage is relatively cool. Okay, we are up to 83.5 degrees on the Voltme, and it still hasn't reduced its output. At what point does it just become dangerous? Next time, I'll see if I can run them for longer, though it's a bit dicey to be honest. I was kind of expecting something to go bang at any moment, given they were hitting such high temperatures. The only device that did self-regulate was the cheapest model in the lineup, the Voltme. And I'm not surprised, as it does feel a little bit lighter. The heatsink must be on the smaller side. Okay, next up, it's the AOHI. Tell me how to pronounce it in the comments, please. 100 watt model C018, which I paid just $36 for. Not a bad price if it performs. Let's be real though, I bought this basically because it's brightly coloured, and that's all it takes to get my attention these days. It's got everything we need, seems to be a popular brand in China and slowly gaining popularity in the West. Here's hoping it performs well. Nice presentation. This weighs a bunch. Wow. This gives me some confidence this is going to go well long term. There must be a serious heatsink in there. Yeah, they're quite different. You can even see from the size they're different. Okay, nice close-up look there. It's really nicely made. Got an interesting texture. Try and zoom into that. The youth power delivery, 100 watts. First up, we'll take a look at the protocols it supports. Q2, Q3, Q4, and just the usual on the bottom. PE, no. Okay, interesting how they've all got slightly different protocols. This one's come up with 100 rather than 105. We'll try the other USB 4 240 watt cable, just in case there's any differences there. Yep, so same thing there. It does not want to reveal its secrets. That is a bit of a bummer. Let's plug it into the power bank. So interesting to see 101 watts and only 94 watts, so a bit less than the others, a couple of watts less. Okay, back with the soldering iron, 100 watts. Let's see what we can get. 20, 105. 106, so we got 106 there, very quick. And next up, it's finally 140 watt, and it is another AOHI. Surely I could have picked up something different, but when you're spending someone else's money, Monkey Brain sees cool, bright yellow thing and says buy. Okay, let's give it a go. Pricing on this one was pretty good, only $40, 140 watts, PDO 7, no Samsung, no Huawei. Again, try another USB 4 cable, see what it says. Got a Huawei on this time. That's interesting. And this time it didn't pick it up. What? Flaky as... Alright, let's plug it in. 101, 121, 130. 130 watts pumping into the power bank. This is a great power bank, by the way. I'll put the link below. Fantastic. LiFePo 4, so it's super safe. Plenty of grunt. Puts out 100 and something watts. I've got a whole video on it, but yeah, I really like this thing. Best result so far. Not too bad at all. And go. 91, 92, 93. Looks like 93 was the max we hit on that. Still pretty quick and satisfying. And finally, let's check it with the MacBook. 50 watts, there we go. So after the 140 watt charger wouldn't even do 100 watts with my 2025 MacBook Air, I began to get suspicious. I'm not a regular Mac user. This is my first device that I mostly use for video editing. And while Bing and Google said my MacBook could charge at 100 watts, and Apple themselves was super vague. Quote /. Unlike other manufacturers, Apple doesn't explicitly mention the maximum charging speed of its devices. That's helpful. Eventually I came across this article on Macworld which revealed the cold hard truth. 67 watts for the MacBook Air, which is mine, 96 for the 14-inch Pro, and 140 watts only for the 16-inch Pro. Truly, only a company like Apple could determine what charge speed you get by the screen size of your laptop. Fantastic. Okay, I've been looking forward to this one. It is the Mechanic G Power. It's a big desktop brick, full metal case, 3.5-inch color screen showing live voltage and current. Can output 160 watts total through 4 USB-C ports along the top here. 100 watts in the first, 45, 30 and 25, plus 20 watts along all the USB-As, and a 15-watt wireless charging pad on top. Marketed to mobile phone repair shops, I'd say it's pretty useful just to geeks in general who have a workbench and a lot of stuff to plug in. Yeah, let's check this one out. Very neatly packaged in here. Really nice job. Doesn't feel like it weighs as much as one of these though. Let me get my scales. Alright, so AOHI 100 watts, 263.8. AOHI 140 watts, 308.6. UGreen, 222.7, Baseus 222.2. Alrighty, and the G power 548. Wow. Okay, so that is quite a bit heavier than the rest. We have got, yeah, the 4C and the 4A, a couple of buttons here, sticky pads on the bottom, vents at the rear. Let's plug her in and see what happens. So we got 100 watts. Ooh, Samsung. Everything. Look at that, except for QC3 and the last two. Not bad. That's probably one of the better ones we've got so far in terms of protocol support. I guess it would make sense given it's meant for phone repair shops. Don't know where you can see we're charging at 94 watts. Peak to peak's only 50, 60 millivolts. I think that's pretty decent. Okay, let's see how it does charging up my power bank. 75, 96, 96, and this one says 97.9. Not too bad. Fnirsi really doesn't like this thing. Okay, well, no Fnirsi, that's alright because this has a watt meter on it. We'll just have to trust it. Here goes nothing, and go. 17, 79, 87, 88. So yeah, about 88 on there and 107 or so on there. You can certainly use this as your desktop power supply for your soldering irons, no worries. Okay, moving on, busting out the big boys. It's the Anker ZOLO 140 watt model B2697. Only cost me 48 bucks, which is unusually cheap for this model, and pretty soon we're going to find out why. This one's got 4 ports, pumps 140 watts from a single port thanks to power delivery 3.1. Very nice. Also got a big beautiful screen that tells you exactly what's going on. Of course, I didn't read any of the review comments until after I bought it. So despite the store showing English in all the screenshots, apparently this is going to be displaying Chinese because it's a Chinese model. But definitely still worth testing because you can buy the English version if you like, though it's going to be about twice as expensive as this Chinese model. Like I said, 48 bucks for this is pretty good compared to local prices. And if you're just after the power and don't care about the screen, it's probably going to be a pretty decent buy as long as it performs how I expect. Let's check it out. Looks like we've got a free cable in there. We'll test you out. Oh, it feels pretty thick. Yeah, it's quite a nice cable. Specs on the back. This is wrapped firmly. Oh, very fancy. So this is at least of last year, I think it was a top-of-the-line model. It is still extremely expensive if you buy this locally where I am, and probably where you are too. So yeah, I was pretty happy to get this for $48. All right, let's plug it in and see how this is going to be with the Chinese writing. Well, at least the numbers are the same. Oh, it's got faces. Hello, that's cute. It's sleeping. And there is our Chinese. That's not too bad, actually. There's some Chinese text, but everything you need to know is in English. Guess that's temperature, yeah. All right, let's check out the protocol support. Hang on a minute, where's the bloody output ports on this thing? Oh, it's on the other side. What? Of course. What? So let's see what we see. 140 watts, good. 3.1, Apple, no Samsung, no Huawei. Okay, QC4, nothing else. Interesting. Let's flip the cable over. Still making faces at me. This time we got a completely different reading. Let's see how it goes. Making faces, charging my power bank. It's only doing 57 watts. Let's try again. 11, 30, 109, 129, 132, 132. That might be the highest so far. I think we got 130 before. There we go. That's quite nice. Geez, 48 bucks for an Anker quality 140 watt. I reckon that's pretty good. PD 3.1. Don't care if this temperature screen's got Chinese on it. Plus you got the happy face, you got the sad face. Falling asleep? Yep. Okay, let's try the soldering iron. 28 volts, 5 amps, not bad. Let's see if this will work. Come on, yep, 40, 110. So 110 was the highest we got on there, 120 on there. Okay, next up is the Voltme SuperGAN 3. I scored this at a much cheaper price point than the others as well, 26 bucks. 26 bucks. This is the cheapest unit in this video. It's got everything we need, 100 watts from a single port, 2C, 1A. Not much detail I could find, but it seems to be popular. Other reviewers have said this is quite good. So let's see what all the fuss is about. Nicely presented. On the back we've got UK standard. Opening it up. Even this one's quite cheap. I wouldn't expect too much in terms of the presentation. Oh, it's got a scratch and sniff on the back. Ooh, it feels pretty light. No toys. Stickers? No stickers. Does feel kind of light. I got the UK version of this one just so that it would plug in nicely. That's interesting. How much does it weigh? 186. Ooh, how's this going to go on the full-on 1 hour test or however long it's going to last? Is this going to go and charge for at least 30 minutes before it cuts off? I'm not sure. But other than that, it's really nice looking. Markings, forget about reading those. All right, let's check it out. We are running out of time. Protocols. Here are the protocols it supports. 100 watts, PDO6, PD 3.0, Apple, Samsung, Huawei, and there you go. That's not too bad, is it? It's got Huawei. How is it going to go charging my power bank? 6, 21, 77, 91, 94. Tiny bit on the low side, but others were doing between 94 to 96, I think. So that's as expected. Let's see if it's going to crack the shits with this. Okay, PD trigger. Go. 103, 104, 107, 118. That is pretty good. Not too bad. That was fast. That was fast. See if we can get a noise reading on this. 130s. Okay, and this is the Fnirsi 100 watts USB GAN charger that you get with the Fnirsi HSO2 soldering iron. This one. So this is the charger you get with this soldering iron, but you can also buy it separately, and it's only like 30 bucks, which isn't too bad, depending on how the performance is. We'll check it out. So I've got very little detail on this, so let's see what it says here. Alrighty, let's see what protocols it supports. 105 watts, that's nice. Apple, Samsung, Huawei, holy moly. QC2, QC4, hey, that's not bad. It's got Samsung, Huawei, and the lot. 30 bucks, eh? Well, this one, let us check its noise level. Funny how some of them will do it, others won't. Yep, that's not going anywhere. All right, it's playing funny buggers. What am I doing that for? That's the wrong one. Okay, crank it right up and go. 8 watts, 27, 26, 27. I've got it set to 20 volts, 5 amps. Doesn't want to do it. If we flip over to nothing else changed, 42, 105, boom. And it's done, and it's reached temp. So I did have issues with this when I was reviewing the HSO2, which is a fantastic soldering iron. But yeah, I had issues getting proper 100 watts out of this. It is a 100 watt charger. It charged that at 100 watts, but it seems to be a little bit iffy. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe it's because I've got this in the middle. Could be. So there's your answer. People who are asking in the soldering iron review, what's a good USB charger, a good cheap one to use with the HSO2 or other 100 watt soldering irons? Voltme. All right, that's all the stats collected. Let's look at the completed table to see what's looking good. So you should make up your own mind, and all the devices are linked below in the description. But in my opinion, I think the best value charger in this review, despite it cutting off before the others, I'd have to give it to the Voltme. For just $26 plus any taxes or tariffs in your country, it's a serious bargain, and it delivers a solid 100 watts for a decent amount of time, though it did self-limit. I'm actually glad it did personally. I think 80 to 85 degrees is just too hot, and if being safer means I need to wait a little longer for a full charge, that's fine by me. For a bit more power, both of our 140 watt units performed well. the Anker ZOLO, and the AOHI Youth 140 watts. So it really comes down to personal taste and what price you can pick them up for. Personally though, my favourite was the Anker. The Chinese writing thing turned out to be a non-issue, and overall it's just a really nice unit. Apart from that, I really like the mechanic. It's low noise and high power output, and with 8 USB slots, you're not going to run out of power anytime soon. I'll probably set this up here or at my regular desk in the foreseeable future. Well, that's all I've got time for today. I hope you found this video useful. Feel free to put any suggestions in the comments below. Happy to buy and test whatever you guys think would be interesting. As always, be cool, be kind, and I'll see you next time.